Republican primary campaign circus is coming to town. The showplace is a parking lot in Coral Springs, Florida, and the main attraction is Newt Gingrich. He wants to become president of the world's only superpower. So I want to know what he's saying about Europe on the campaign trail. After 3 hours wait, finally, the show begins. No question, the former Speaker of the House is back for good. Opinion polls currently put him in second place in the race for the Republican nomination. But why? I'm impressed by Gingrich's skills as an orator. He speaks freely, without notes and without stumbling. He knows exactly what his audience wants to hear.
I believe that to defeat Obama, we need somebody who is a conservative and who can stand up to him in debate and who can clearly draw the contrast between the Constitution and European socialism.
Europe is a buzzword here that pushes buttons with Gingrich's conservative followers. They are mainly white and undereducated. Given the chance, I'll ask the candidate what his problem is with Europe.
Why do you dislike Europe, Mr. Speaker? Why do you dislike Europe? Right, sir?
I asked the question 4 times. Although I'm certain he's heard it, no reaction. So I turned to his supporters for some answers. They all know he's been implicated in personal and political scandals, and that he's now with his 3rd wife. How does that go down with Republican voters who claim to value morality and tradition?
He's a brilliant man. He worked with Reagan. He did a lot of things. Everybody makes mistakes. Whatever he did in his past is his past. And I think he can take us where this country needs to go, which is back to smaller government and back to the Constitution the way it should be.
The Newt show moves on, heading north. No breaks. Whoever wins Florida may have a decisive advantage in the contest. I head in the other direction, to Miami. There, I want to meet the man who is leading in the Republican primaries, Mitt Romney. He's appearing at a special venue. The Freedom Tower in downtown Miami. It's the monument to Cuban immigration. Many leaders of Florida's influential Cuban community are attending the event. The votes of Cuban Americans could tip the scales in the Florida primary, and the best organized and wealthiest candidate, Mitt Romney, is doing everything to win them. I'm actually a little surprised how enthusiastic people are about the former Massachusetts governor here, but the crowd is hand-picked. The warm-up act is giving her all. Romney doesn't waste any time, stressing the growing importance of Latin American markets.
We spend all of our time focused on Europe or focused on Asia, and very little attention focused on the Caribbean, the Central America, Mexico, and South America. How is it that the whole world south of our border, which is growing and dynamic, receives so little attention from the United States of America? If I'm president, that will change.
Once again, I hear that side swipe at Europe. But Europeans have little influence here, and they're an easy target. By contrast, the Hispanic vote is becoming more and more important. The community is growing rapidly. Cuban Americans are traditionally Republican, but for other Latinos, Romney has an image problem. Millions of Hispanics in the U.S. are undocumented, like Erica Andiola from Mexico. The activist and her friends are here to tell Romney directly what they think of his stance on immigration. But Mitt Romney does not respond to the protesters outside. I ask myself whether the famous communicators Bill Clinton or Ronald Reagan would have at least paused for a brief discussion. To the small group of demonstrators, Romney's immigration policies are pure opportunism.
But I think it's his stance of getting voters who are more within the anti-immigrant spectrum. But I think he has to really be careful on that, because we do have a lot of support within the community.
Is Romney playing with xenophobic sentiment? As governor of Massachusetts, he was a moderate. I asked myself what we could really expect from a President Romney. I head west, following the campaign circus.
You're suggesting that's all a connection.
The Newt Show has arrived in St. Petersburg on the west coast of Florida. People here react very openly when they hear I'm from Germany. For them, that automatically makes me not a part of America's liberal media, which is a bad word for conservatives. And despite their candidates' anti-European rants, the people here obviously like Germany.
So we're capable
like Gary Kelly and his business partner Rick Ives. They're both die-hard Newt fans. I asked Gary why he thinks Gingrich constantly criticizes Europe.
We've seen policies that have taken America down the path of Greece, which is not good. If we had seen from the same president policies that took us down the path of Germany, hey, I'd be voting for it. Fiscal responsibility, we can learn from Germany about that.
That answer is more balanced than unexpected, but Gary has more to tell me.
With it, it doesn't.
After the campaign event, he takes me for a ride and explains the difference between the candidates. Romney only knows how to communicate with crowds, he says.
That's a lot easier to do than to connect to the individual person, to their intellect, to their heart. And that's one thing that I think that Newt does better than anybody else in the race, especially better than Mitt Romney.
But will that talent be enough to win Florida for Gingrich? The state is more representative of the entire U.S. than the previous primary states. Whoever wins has good chances of winning the whole country. And at the moment, Romney is leading in opinion polls again. Lehigh Acres. As late as 2007, houses were springing up overnight. Then came the crisis. Jennifer Nice and her family bought their house for $200,000. Today, it's worth $48,000. Just steps away from Jennifer's house, Romney is about to give a speech. That's something she doesn't want to miss, especially because he's the one candidate she trusts on the only theme that matters to her.
And most of all, he's trying to help the economy, which I think is one of the biggest things. The economy has tanked terribly. Not a lot of people can afford groceries or gas anymore. It's just difficult this day and age to do much of anything without trying to think, do I have the gas to get there, or do I have the money to buy the gas to get where I'm going?
This is home territory for Romney. As a former businessman, he can stand in front of this foreclosed house and address his main theme, the economic crisis, which he blames entirely on President Barack Obama.
He's doing it piece by piece, making us more and more like a European-style social welfare state. It's the wrong way for America. We should return to the Constitution as our blueprint. We should restore the values that made America the hope of the earth. Thanks, you guys.
Romney may use less drastic language than Gingrich, but in their attitude towards Europe, the two Republican candidates are not that different. The difference could be that from Romney, I may get an answer to my question.
Governor, why do you dislike Europe so much, Governor?
Pardon?
Why do you dislike Europe so much? You pound.
Oh, I love Europe. I love Europe. It's a great place to visit.
At least a direct answer, if not an entirely serious one. But in this Republican campaign circus, that's more than I can expect to get as a European.